Hello friends, it's Jiftesh from Encode Digital and welcome back to our deployment series. This is the part 2. In the last part we discussed about the application and the API which we created, and we dockerized it. If you haven't looked into that one, have a look, because we prepared our application from the development environment to be ready to be shipped into the production. So in this part we're going to set up our virtual machine, and then we're going to lock down the root access and enable SSH for security, and then we're going to set up the firewalls. Then we're going to install Docker as well. So let's start, guys. So the very first thing we need is of course the server. So now you can get server from anywhere, DigitalOcean, InterServer, anywhere, to be honest, but I'm going to use from Time for VPS. I use them, to be honest. I mean, of course they haven't they're not sponsored by anything, but I use them because they were cheap, so I was just want to try their plan, and to be honest, so far so it is okay, so I'm going to use that one. So but yeah, you can use any of them. So let me log into, so I've already have account with them, so let me log in quickly. When you get a server, you will note down the IP address of that one. So if you're using DigitalOcean, Linode, or anywhere, so they will specify the IP address for that one. So for me it is this one, and I have the root password. So very first thing, we're going to log into our server via now I'm using Windows, so I can't do SSH, so I have to use the PuTTY. So I have the PuTTY tool installed. If you haven't got the PuTTY, then just Google PuTTY, and then you will be able to download it. So basically it will, when you install, go into that one, it will install both things, PuTTY as well as the PuTTY gen. So once I have a PuTTY, so I will log into with my IP address into the server. So 109.235.71.246. so I'm going to click open, and then I'm going to log in as a root, and it is asking for my root password. Now my root password is this, so I'm going to Control-C, copy, and I'm going to right click here. So I did the right click. It will not show the password, so I did the right click, and I'm going to press enter. So okay, so we have logged into our server. So as you can see, we have logged into. Okay, very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to amend the etc resolve conf, so that we can add a DNS name so that it can talk to internet. So let me do nano, and then etc, then resolve.conf, and in that one just press your down arrow key and come to here and write name server, no, not name a server, name server, and 8.8.8.8. this is to resolve, this is a Google's was to resolve the DNS. So then I press Control X, exit. It asks me to save, then I press Y for yes, and then enter. So it has updated that one. Now I'm going to do apt, I'm going to update and upgrade. So att-y update and apt-y upgrade. -y is to give yes in case it asks for continue. So let's do that one, and now it is fetching all the information. So I will pause it for now, and then I will come back when it is finished. Okay guys, it's done now. It took approximately 10 minutes, so but yeah, it's done now. So all the update and upgrade is done now. As you know, we have logged in as root. So what we want to is that we want to create our user. So I'm going to create add user, and I'm going to create myself, Jiftesh, and then I'm going to need to give password for that one. So I will give again, it will ask for confirmation. Okay, and it will ask for a few details, so I'm going to give, you can skip these ones as well, just press enter. So is the information correct? Yes. So okay, so we have created a user. Now I'm going to add user which we have created, which is myself, to sudo, so that we can run the commands with more privilege. So I'm going to run with the sudo, and then we can do all the work which can be done, to be honest, via root up to what extent we need, but we don't need to log in as a root. So I'm going to create a group SFTP as well, so that we can use like FileZilla to transfer files in our next part. So our application we need to transfer, so we can use that one. So I'm going to create add group, and then I'm going to create I'm going to add our user, which is myself, Jivdesh, to SFTP. So okay, so now guys, it's all done. So now we want to get out of the root because our users is created. Now we will log in as our users. I'm going to exit it, and then let's again putty, and then I'm going to log in back to the server, but not with the root password. I'm going to log in with as Jivdesh, as a user we created. So we created password for that one, so I'm going to add. So I'm typing, it will not blink over there. So see, now we are not via root. If I do who am I, then it's Jivdesh rather than root, and I have this sudo access for that one. So now we have but we still we created a user, but we're still logging as with password. We don't want to do that. We want to log in securely via the SSH handshake. So we're going to create certificates. Now if you are on Mac, then go to your local machine, not to the server, local machine, open another terminal, and then you can do SSH, then keygen, and then give the byte rate as 496. So not on the server, I know I'm writing on the server machine, don't but on your local terminal, if you're on a Mac, type that one, then that will create your keys, public and private keys, and it will save into your local users where your username is, whichever the user you are logged in over there. So you will be able to do that one. Now I have a Windows, I can't run SSH keygen command, so I have to use putty gen. So when you install putty, you will get the putty key generator as well. If not, then you can download again by searching Google. So we're going to create a key, the public and private key. Now first of all, I'm going to raise this one to 496 to make it more complex, and I'm going to click generate. The way putty key generation work, you move the mouse. When you move the mouse, it picks the random numbers from that one, and it creates a key. Okay, so it has created a key. So I'm going to save first of all, so this is our public key, and I'm going to copy the public key. I'm going to copy that one. I will go to our Flask series. I'm just going to create a folder here saying keys. Okay, then within keys, I'm just going to create the normal text file, and I'm going to say it as id I'm just saying public key, public underscore key. So this one is the public key. I'm going to save it, and I will leave it open. And then for the private key, I'm going to save private key. Yes, okay. I don't want to give any passphrase protect. You can give the passphrase protect as well, but I don't want to type password because I have this the keys, the public and private keys, so I will be able to log in with that one. So I'm going to say yes, and then I'm going to save in my desktop. So let me see, I have desktop, YouTube, Flask series, then keys. I'm going to save it as id underscore rsa, which will be .ppk file. Okay, so I've done that one. I don't need this, so I can close this one off. So as you can see, I have both these ones. Now we have created public and private key. So private key will stay on your local machine. The public key we need to put onto the server. Make directory, and that make directory .ssh. Okay, so I have created in the root directory and the SSH, and then I am going to create authorized keys. So you do sudo, we have to do sudo because I am as a Jivdesh, not as root. So sudo nano, I'm going to use the nano editor, and then I'm going to go into the ssh folder, .ssh folder which we created, and I'm going to create authorized underscore keys. Okay, it will ask me for password which we created earlier, so I'm going to guess it is empty file, of course we just created. So I'm going to copy this, our public key from our local machine. I'm going to right click here, so it has saved everything, it has copied everything. So I'm going to Control X, say yes, and enter. So it has created those ones. Now once this authorized keys are created, I am going to give the access to SSH folder only to the user, this user Jivdesh. So I'm going to say sudo chmod and then 700. 700 means I am the only I'm as the owner have access, read, write, and execute. No one else has any access. So I am going to do and I'm going to give that one to SSH folder which I have created. And for the files, I'm going to give 600, which is only read and write access, not the execute one, for all the files within that folder, which is basically authorized key which we have created. Okay, so once that is done, now I'm going to exit and log in via the SSH certificate. Let me put it, and then again we will IP address, and for SSH I will go to the SSH under the auth. Here in the private key I will give the private key to our folder where we saved, and we saved in keys and ppk file over here. So I'm going to click open. As we need to log in as our user Jivdesh, but I think it will give us an error because I haven't changed the permission on my home directory. Let's see. Yeah, so server refused our keys. So let's log in again with password, and then I'm going to give permission to sudo chan to recursively to all the files within Jip, and I'm going to give as my user column user to home to the Jivdesh my as a user directory. So it will ask me for password, and okay, now let's try again to log in via SSL. So I'm going to go putty, that's our IP, and with our SSH I'm going to, this is our private key, and I'm going to open, and then I say Jivdesh, and see, authenticated. We don't need to give any password because it is done by the public and private key handshake. So okay, good. So now we are able to log in now, but our root is still there. It means we haven't logged it down. So our next step is to log down the root, and for that one I'm going to sudo nano, and then I'm going to go into the etc ssh, and I'm going to change the sshd config file in this config. So it will ask for the password. Okay, so now in this file scroll down to see where you see permit root login. So I will press the down arrow key and try to find where is the permit see permit root login, which is yes. So I'm going to change it to no, because we don't want to log in via root, and we don't want anyone to access that one. So that is the one. Another thing is, because now we have our certificate, we have our public and private key, we don't want to log in via password as well, because we don't want someone else to run a bot to keep on guessing our password. So go scroll down and then to find out password authentication. So if I keep going down, and where it is password authentication, which is yes, so I'm going to say no. So we have to provide the root, we have to provide our public and private key handshake in order to do that one. So after these changes, I'm doing Control X, then yes to save, and then enter. So that is saved, but we need to enable those changes. I'm going to do sudo systemctl and then restart sshd. So now with this, we will not be able to log in as root at all. So let's try. I will quickly show you. So if I go to this and then I try to log in as root, see, and it clearly says it doesn't allow at all. So this is how we secure our virtual machine. This is how we secure our server. But that is so that's now we have secured from root access point of view. Now what we need to do is we need to lock down our ports as well. We need to set up a firewall. So the next step is, let me clear this. Now we are there in our server, so we're going to set up a firewall. So what we going to use is the simple one, which is the uncomplicated firewall. Sudo apt install ufw. It is uncomplicated firewall. So once that one is installed, I'm going to sudo ufw. With default, I'm going to allow all the outgoings. I'm going to allow all the outgoing, and but for default, I'm going to deny all the incoming. Now this is going to deny everything, even including SSH. So very first thing we're going to do is we have to enable our SSH, because otherwise we ourselves will not be able to enter even via our public and private key. So I'm going to do sudo ufw allow SSH. Then I'm going to allow the port 80, which will be our 4 websites, and I'm going to allow 443, which is for the HTTPS secure one. And then later on, when we install the Nginx proxy manager, it runs on port 81, but that will be enabled by Docker. So because Docker overrides this one, and that is the reason in our previous part 1 we secured our MySQL, because when we run the MySQL, it's going to open the 3306 port because Docker overrides the firewall, but we have secured that one with SSL certificate. That's how we have locked down all the ports. So once these changes are done, I'm going to do sudo ufw enable. So this is where we're going to enable the firewall. So make sure you have allowed the SSH, which is port 22. If you do the enable, if you haven't done that one, then you will lock yourself. So it says yes, ask for yes, that's yeah, I want. So that is done now. So once this is done, so now we have locked down our server, we have created a user, locked down root and everything. So I think our server is good now. Only thing left is to install Docker. So let's quickly take apt get, let's quickly update, and then after update I'm going to run few commands so to install the Docker. So it is sudo apt get -y again to give the yes for any questions, install apt transport, and then we need ATP transport HTTPS, then we need the CA certificates, sorry if I can type, and then we going to call GNU PG agent and software properties common. Okay, so it's going to fetch all those packages. Then once that is done, I'm going to call fssl and then https download.docker.com/linux/ubuntu, because we are working on Ubuntu, gpg, and then pipe sign, then sudo apt key add dash. Okay, you're going to get all of those ones, and then I'm going to do sudo add apt repository, and then it is the which architecture we need. So if you look into the Docker the website, it will tell you which architecture for us. For me, it is the architecture is AMD 64. There's other ones, ARM one as well, but for us, for me, it is the AMD 64 HTTPS, and then I'm going to download docker.com.linux .ubuntu, and then I'm going to take the latest release. So basically I'm going to lsp underscore release underscore not underscore dash cs, and I'm going to take the stable release, whichever is the latest stable release. So once I have done that one, and it is fetching the Docker, so I'm going to do sudo apt get install docker dash ce docker cli container .io and docker dash compose, because we are using the Docker compose. So I'm going to install all of these packages, and container, sorry, I misspelled the container, so let me container. Okay, so it is, yeah, and yes, so it's going to download all those packages. Okay, once that is done, then everything is ready. Our Docker is installed. Let's check. So let me see docker dash version. So yeah, brilliant, our Docker is there. So that's it, guys. So for this part, so our server is now ready, it is secured, we have the Docker. So in our next part, so then we will start deploying our application. We ship the application, and then we will take it forward from there. Okay, see you in the next one. Thanks guys, cheers.